Scott Miller is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking with the owners of Eads Co-Cleaning. Michelle is actually in the building. She's offset. She's over there. Make sure that we all behave and make sure that we communicate as clearly as possible. I never thought talking about cleaning was going to be so much fun, but today I can tell it's going to be the case because Scott is just a fun, all-around, entertaining, good guy and a brainiac too. That's a good thing. I consider myself a brainiac. We are computer nerds. Computer nerds unite kind of thing. We all have our own specialty for what we do. But I've put together this little system for what we got here, and Scott naturally says, "And here's something else you can do. Here's something else you can do." And I'm like, "You're right. Thank you." That's why as computer nerds need to stick together. And but we've systematized what we do here. We like to make it easy to convey what businesses are doing in our community to make a difference. And so with that, start off by saying thank you to our sponsors, Carroll House Furniture. Carroll House, because you like nice things in your little castle. We throw that in there for everybody because this is your little castle show. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me. I'm good with it.
Scott likes that too. All right. Quick note then with our big sponsors, also USA Mortgage. We just had an interview we did with Rob and myself. Rob Schmersall is the production guy behind the scenes for USA Mortgage. Check out that interview. Talk a little bit of all the depth of what you should know when you're getting into a mortgage. So with that, let's jump into our discussion we're having today. Getting a house cleaned and why that's important. There's a lot to think about there. I get into it. I'll throw it out right to start with. Time management, man. What are you good at? And what do you want to spend your time doing? Cleaning seems like it's not the most difficult task unless you don't do it right. And you probably can give me some examples of people who make things a lot worse. But the truth is, it's vital. I mean, to the success of businesses, to the happiness of the culture of a human's mind. Tell me about Eads Co-Cleaning and why you started this business.
Oh gosh, well, Carter, I used to work for a big aerospace company here in St. Louis. You might know it.
I could probably guess.
And I got the so long and thanks for all the fish letter, and decided I wanted to go into business for myself rather than working for somebody else. They paid for a whole lot of education for me, and I really wasn't getting to use it there. And so I took a look around and said, well, all right, how can I make a difference? And what makes smart business sense? Don't ask me how you go from doing IT and process management for aerospace companies into owning a cleaning company, except that the problem here, the building systems for technology is actually easy. Building systems that integrate people and technology, that's much hard. People are a very complicated thing to build systems around.
True. I've studied that a bit, and it's a crazy world with regard to managing. And what I noticed in particular, I always ask a business owner, what sets you apart? And one of the key things, we have a pregame discussion. Sometimes that's in the bullpen, everybody. I did buy a bullpen sign in the bullpen. It's at the green room in traditional terms, but we call it the bullpen for Cardinal Cowboy and all that stuff. But that is, you have very well systematized the way the work gets done.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that could be impactful from the perspective that when I'm getting a house cleaned, my house cleaned, I want to make sure everything is done. I don't want any nook or cranny missed, because this happens to me. Sometimes I'm working on something and I'm like, but you missed that and you missed that. And what about over here? And we didn't talk about that. And then people are like, well, now the job wasn't done and it causes more problems than it's worth. And so if you're systematizing, wow.
Well, I think a lot of people don't realize is like, when you're running a cleaning business, you actually have three process layers worth of problems to solve. You actually have cleaning a room, all right? But then cleaning a house is really a series of cleaning rooms, which fundamentally is a project. So that turns our team leads into project managers. So now you've got those two layers. Now you have the layer, which is the business, where you put all of those pieces together to run a successful business, where in our case, 335 clients I think we've got right now that we have to fit into a schedule and not miss services. And for a lot of years, we went without even missing a service call, and it was pretty cool.
Okay, and that's where I say Scott brings to the table here some advanced computer background we talked a little bit about, and systematizing things. I was just like, tell me some other things you could do to help me improve the show here, because he's given me some insight about just basic processes that if your mind works that way, it's great. Most people's minds don't work that way. Would you agree? And that's a big advantage.
I think everybody's minds, they kind of work in their own way, left brain, right brain kind of, construct. And Yeah, I just took a look at business problems, and then I just started writing software that put all the pieces together, which is how I handled the business side of it. And I talk with my hands, so look out.
Which is fine. I do that too.
But started putting together, in the software where it actually routes based on loads and arrival times to get services done in the day, and it actually does the scheduling for staff based on, frankly, performance. So that's one of the ways we help make sure that we've always got the best staff on the right routes for any given day.
That to me was where it really got interesting with what you guys do. And I was like, we would love to have you on our show because you're going to help businesses in general, but also specifically with how do you automate, systematize, and get the best result for your client.
Yeah.
And when you can leverage, you were programming this. You've programmed this yourself. He knows how to run a cleaning company, but he also knows how to program these new computer things that are catching on. That's my joke. Watch out for this internet thing; it's starting to catch on.
I've heard about that.
And so with regard to that makes people feel a lot more comfortable when they're making a decision because you're bringing somebody into somebody's home, very often, or their business.
Absolutely.
And then at the same time, what's going to happen? How's this going to get done? And am I going to peace of mind, so that I'm not going to worry about what's going to happen here. I want it done right. Because it's a representation. I got to figure out who's going to come to my house, who's not. We can't have people over. The place doesn't look right. It's all a matter of function of life, and it has a big impact on the way things happen.
Sure.
All right. So tell me, we got a little bit about the path that got you here. Give me a little more depth about why you ended up here and when you decided you wanted to do cleaning.
Yeah. So one of the things is, when you go to start your own business, one of the big problems there, that everybody's kind of aware of is location. And you picked a location wrong, and you can be out of business before you even start. I didn't want that problem. I also came from a background that was more service management. So I wanted something not so much manufacturing, but service. And I'll be honest with you, I wanted something that was a relatively low-cost startup. It didn't require $500,000 or $1 million to get started. It required something substantially less.
Franchise fees, all that stuff.
Yeah, all that kind of fun stuff. And so what I ended up doing, that's kind of how I basically, did an analysis of what was important. They'll teach you in business and everything, focus on the outcomes, the requirements, don't focus on the mechanizations. And so I took a look at what was important for me as a person, for my family. And I'll be honest with you, having the flexibility to not be bound to a location, that's, that was a nice draw. And then just being able to make a difference, in the world, especially both with clients and with our staff. We hold a high standard in our company, but we also take pretty good care of our staff. I mean, we offer, really top of the line benefits packages, 401k, healthcare, all kinds of same stuff you could get at most major companies. And I wanted to be able to give them a development opportunity. And so, yeah, it was just kind of a sweet spot of, I tell people all the time, I rarely ever do anything for one reason. I usually have 3 or 4 reasons that end up in the outcome. And it seems kind of almost counterintuitive that you go from architecting systems for $60 billion corporations to running a maid service. But I'll tell you what, running a maid service in a lot of ways is way more complicated than the technology problems I was dealing with in corporate America.
Right. Well, you and I both have a similar background in corporate America. Myself, loved working the email systems for a brewery that for many centuries, based out of St. Louis.
Yeah.
Big name and lots of responsibility. But yeah, I was kind of like you. I felt like I can do more on this little planet with the short time that I'm here.
Sure.
And sitting in a cubicle was not my favorite thing.
Yeah.
I relate that to a confinement facility, right?
Yeah.
Essentially, you sit in your cubicle and you go to lunch and you get out of that, but what you're going to do is not what you get.
One of the other things I found too is that, and this isn't specific to cleaning services, but it's specific to a lot of services that homeowners are looking to solve for, is that, being able to provide the homeowners in the community, frankly, a business that was designed and built and run by their peers. Most of our clients are either business owners or, they're corporate America professionals and being able to provide them a service and through a business that hopefully they think so anyway, is something that they feel like they're talking to their peers, from a process perspective, just understands their problems and what's important to them. I need more water than I thought I did.
And a note to all of our guests: when you come on, ask us for water. I often forget to offer it. We have a fridge right over there. But yes, we enjoy hearing somebody discuss the in and out. I mean, in depth. This is really getting deep with regard to the psychology, the process, and everything that's involved with running a business. And so many people, they're just like, I'm really good at building decks. I think I want to start a deck company or whatever it may be. And they have no idea about all of what's going to go on beyond that to facilitate the completion of these jobs, especially at scale. And when you really get in it to make a living, right? You can do one deck a month. You're probably not going to pay the bills. Maybe.
Yeah, I actually sat down one time because I was sitting here trying to get my brain wrapped around the business problem that was running a cleaning service, and I did what I did when I worked in corporate America was I wrote process model diagrams for starting. And long story short, I probably ended up with like 30 objects in the object model, 40 maybe, I don't remember, it was a lot. And only one of them was where the houses actually got cleaned. Regulatory compliance and payroll and putting all these pieces together. The deck building, as you were referring to, was one dot in the middle of this bowl of spaghetti with meatballs on paper, if anybody's familiar with Visio. Right. So, yeah.
Visio, the planning software that we use at corporate level, yes.
Yes, exactly.
That was a Microsoft product.
Microsoft bought them many years ago. Yeah.
I remember the process. And it's a matter of, you got the triangles, the boxes, the circles, and all those pieces that matter of the process. And I would imagine 95% of small business owners have never heard of that or seen that. And so that's
I don't know
how do they get functionally involved with that. And that's what I say, real exciting. Somebody who could have at least.
It's a great tool for showing people. I used to say in corporate America, it's like large font, shiny objects, bright colors. And I said, if you want to get your idea across, to the people that are making decisions, start there, and then if they're interested, then you can move to the further details.
Great discussion. Yes, and as a matter of function for your business, these are the things that we want to convey. And somebody that takes the time to sit down with us and explain that shows you're an expert, shows you've got the expertise, and maybe somebody that people should listen to. And if you need your carpet cleaned, they're going to do a great job.
Well, we don't do carpet cleaning.
We
just do vacuuming.
I should have.
Yeah, no, that's all right. No worries. But we know some carpet cleaners if you need one.
As a matter of, there we go. There's me being the assumptive. You would assume cleaning carpets is what they throw in it. I mean, there's carpet cleaning companies. That's separate.
Sure, yeah.
We'll
vacuum them for you.
Yeah, you'll vacuum, right. And you're right. And I'm saying, as a matter of getting the carpet clean, as part of the process of cleaning the house. But yeah, to be specific, and so people understand what you're talking about. You are a house cleaning, commercial cleaning business.
So what we refer to ourselves as a residential finished cleaning company. Okay. So we'll come in, people are like, well, do you post-construction clean? We're like, well, it depends on where you're at. The initial post-construction clean, you still got 2x4s lying around and tape everywhere. And, we don't do that because, one, we don't have a big dumpster out there to throw all that stuff into. But two, tape a lot of times means something that maybe has or hasn't been finished yet. And I mean, that's not what our people are trained on. But once all that stuff's up, then we'll come in and we do it all, not exclusively residential, but we have a business model and a business process. We find that some offices, and we've actually cleaned showrooms for some of the contractors around town, where they're doing whatever, whether it's kitchens or outdoor or whatever, and we'll clean for them as well. But it has to, they'll tell you in business school, if you try to make everybody happy, you'll make nobody happy and you'll just go broke.
Right.
All right. So, we work with a residential finished cleaning model. And actually what I found, and why we don't do a lot of commercial in the residential cleaning environment, you have, in any purchase situation, you have a consumer, a customer, and a provider or a seller or a vendor or whatever. And the consumer and the customer, in the residential service circuit, they're the same. But when you go to commercial, the customer and the consumer are different. The customer is the one that writes the check. The consumer is the one that appreciates or enjoys the product or the service. And so the homeowner is the customer and the consumer. And the way they look at service is very different than the property manager, who's not going to look at it with the same keen eye as the consumer might, because they're just trying to fit a budget and meet a standard that keeps them getting promoted. So it's actually really interesting, the differences between commercial and residential when you really kind of dig in under the layers.
Well, that makes sense because you need to know your audience, right?
Yes,
what are you going to target?
absolutely.
How are you going to get the work done? And that's why I say having somebody like you can help. Hopefully, other people listen to this interview and go, "These are the processes necessary to have for a successful business."
Sure.
We want everybody to develop their own little castle, and a key element for that is to have a successful way to make money and to provide to pay the bills. And you're helping people. I mean, some deep insight here.
That big bowl of spaghetti I was talking about, that little center box can be replaced with deck building or landscaping or lawn care or whatever. A lot of this stuff that goes around the outside of it, a lot of it's pretty similar. I mean, it's going to be different some, but mostly similar.
Well, I think that leads to my next question. What fuels your passion with regard to what you do, specifically being a primarily focused residential cleaning company, right? And you're dealing with consumers at their homes and making them happy, and that could be a range of different options for things you do. Tell me how that fills what you're trying to accomplish.
So, I'll be honest. I like building things. So whether it's people or a business, I like helping people. So when our clients are happy, of course I'm happy. But what really kind of gets me excited is creating an environment where my managers and my staff and where the system all works. Now, to be fair, we've personal things, or I guess it's not really personal, but when we get feedback from clients, we've had feedback from clients before where they literally told us we saved their marriage because the husband and wife were fighting over chores or whatever.
Right.
And one of them was like, well, get a cleaning service. And they did. And we're like, oh my God, this was the best thing we ever did. I don't think it ever made one of the reviews. People don't usually talk about that kind of stuff. We had actually one of the ones that was really cool. It was a guy, this was several years ago, but he was, I guess, social services was involved in some way, and they were going to remove him from his house, and he was in a hoarder house, and we got a call. I don't know if it was from his son or I think it was a really good friend of his, like from forever and a day ago, and he asked us for help, and normally that's beyond what we can do, but he was really asking for help. And so actually what we did, because you really can't clean a house that is cluttered everywhere. You just can't do it. But what you can do is remove the stuff. Well, here's the problem. The hoarder mentality can't let go of things. That's why it's all there. So we actually worked with them, long story short. And what we did was we actually got all of this stuff boxed up and labeled for each room. We moved it out, into a pod or something like that in his driveway. We stored it there, and his friend was working with us because he was really, and we went in and we cleaned the house, and everything was labeled, and then we put it all back in. And then I don't know whether it was an email or something, but long story short, he was about to not be able to live in his house, and he got to stay in his house. Well, that was pretty cool.
That's the stuff we're talking about. I guess, you're really hitting home here personally, I've had friends and people I've known who literally, as a matter of the function for their life, it can be easily dismissed as, I'm just cleaning the house. There's so much more that goes into that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And they talk about it. Tell me if this, we're getting kind of deep here, but sometimes we do this on the show because it really, how does every function, every business has a real contribution to the world, and it's not just because it gets a little thing done. There's usually major elements of humanity that get involved there. And they talk about the psychology they have for people to say, if the first thing you need to do to improve your life, clean your room, right? Is that one of those things they say? And talk about why that's important for people to have, because psychologically, so they're happy. You talked about saving them.
Yeah, fundamentally, to varying degrees, you got to clean.
Sure.
And I say that not because you have to, but I just don't want to imagine a world where it doesn't happen. Okay, and I'm not an expert on feng shui. I might even be saying it wrong, but it's basically that harmonious space kind of thing. Right. Things that are dirty and things that are cluttered, they agitate the mind, and what agitates the mind agitates the soul. So what we do, that's where that peace of mind, healthier living, peace of mind, more free time comes in. But at the end of the day,
that's now you're getting deep.
Oh,
I got the hat on for that. Literally,
so I can keep it all in, right?
The cowboy thing is about how do you impact people's lives. Everybody knows about I went through a coma and what I had to overcome there. But I mean, now I'm starting to well up a little bit. I don't know if you can see this on camera. But I mean, literally, the psychology that goes into people, and they're good people. They've got a little problem, and it turns into a big issue because they didn't address it. And it starts with just
for example, if you've got asthma, a dirty house will aggravate your asthma. So there's two things. One, you got to clean your space, okay? But you also need to clean your ductwork. All right, now we don't do that, but if you do them both together, you alleviate a lot of what causes the agitations associated with asthma. Suffice to say, a clean surface. We all learned back in 2020. Hey, if you want to avoid bugs, make sure your surfaces are all cleaned. Okay, that's the healthier living part. And the more free time is really easy. Somebody's got to do it. Do you want to spend your weekend cleaning? Do you want to go to a Cardinal game and clean?
The dilemma.
I think I know the answer for you.
Well, I mean, literally, that's why I really like to get into the depth of what goes on inside of a business, because it's not just as simple as it may appear to all of us on the outside. We're just saying, I need the house clean. But there's a whole lot more that
here's
goes
the
into
deal.
the process.
Fundamentally, businesses exist to solve a human problem. To render an unsatisfactory human condition into a satisfactory human condition. Maybe it's I just really want to get rid of my iPhone 6 and I want an iPhone 14, or maybe it's I'd rather be lounging by the pool. Maybe I want to go camping. Maybe I want to go ride the motorcycle. By the way, these are all things I like to do, but everybody's got their own,
Yeah.
It's we're all trading this for that. And I'll be honest with you, I've said for a number of years, I wish I could solve for it more, but happiness is having enough money to pay other people to make your problems go away. So that's kind of where we come in.
That's a great point. This show is going fast, everybody. We're 22 minutes in. This is a 28-minute, half-hour segment, half-hour show. We're going to have 2 shows we're recording here today. We do that for everybody when they come in. 2 half-hour sit-downs where we really get into it. We're not even halfway through. I've got a bunch of stuff I need to get. I want to always make my effort, as a matter of outline, we try to structure our interviews here, is to make sure we cover a lot of important things. So I want to come back to that. I don't want to cut you off because
we're good.
Stuff. But the bottom line there, if I can summarize, because we got a few minutes here, and that is, you literally, what are you good at? Why would you spend your time cleaning a house, which is an arduous task, while you're better at, I will use the example, I'm better at making videos and producing stuff.
I don't want to have anything to do with that.
I literally tell Dawn, you talked to Dawn introduced us, and I said, Dawn, that is something I should not do. Because if I'm wasting my time, not wasting on the things that need to get done, whatever the task is.
Spend it more efficiently.
More efficiently, right. If I'm spending my time on that, I am not getting the thing done that makes the big bucks. It's like trading $5 for $100, right?
Yeah.
Why would I spend something and they need to get done? So that's where you have to organize in your own mind. And I just didn't realize until this discussion. I know it's true, and I guess I probably did realize. Wasn't thinking about it. But how important it is to have a clean place to live. I've been in houses where it looked literally like somebody just came in with a bulldozer.
Right.
And that's where they lived, every day. And it's just like, how can you function? Your mind can't be clear to continue to be successful on this planet.
That's why it's all you guys out there, single guys, don't think that the girl ain't paying attention when you bring her back. She's going to want to see a clean place.
This is true. Or she's like, oh, I can really fix him. Oh, that's another discussion.
No, don't try and fix guys.
When they're younger, that's a more... you understand the point. Let's take a look. I want to put up on the wall for everybody to look at, because you guys did a great job with this. I remember we looked at the reviews. I was like, you got a bunch of reviews. We got a few. You guys have a ton of reviews. You get up at over 50, 60 reviews for a local small business. You've done really well. So 178 views there. But I'm going to just pick off, as I promised everybody, just a couple. You don't get to pick and choose. I arbitrarily.
You're going to go by random, huh?
Random selection, and I go down. And if there was a 5.0, I'd be like, nah, something going on here. You have 4.6. So you have mostly 4s or mostly 5s, and a few 4s mixed in there. I'm sure.
We got a couple 1s. Sure, everybody's going to have them.
Yeah, well, I'll say, if you don't have those, it's kind of like, what's going on?
Yeah, somebody's faking the funk.
But here's what I just stopped randomly. Stop.
Okay.
No whammies. The 3 ladies did a wonderful job cleaning our house. Everything was shiny, and our home smelled so fresh. They paid special attention to the floors, something I had no idea to do. I love that they come every 2 weeks. And that's from, who is that?
I don't know. Scroll up, I think.
There's Sheila Lawson. So is that a good example of kind of the process for what you provide?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, generally most of our clients are every 2-week clients. Some go every 1, some go every 4, some just, a couple times a year. But yeah, I mean, like I said, we've got a good solid process, and we train our staff to follow through, and they do, and that's what happens.
All right, I'm going to go one more here.
Sure.
I just had my initial deep clean done today, and the house has never been this clean. Patrice and her crew were pleasant, professional, and thorough. Got great all-around service. Standard clean, general, the services we provided there. Another 5.0. She does a lot of reviews too. She's got 201.
Who's that?
That is John.
Oh, John.
I'm sorry. He.
Does,
yeah.
Sorry, John.
Sorry,
that wasn't on me.
That was
that was Patrice. I'm not sure who was with her today. We don't run the exact same crews every day. Patrice is one of our senior team leads. She's been with us for a while. Wonderful young lady. Love having her around. But deep cleans. A lot of people don't realize that first deep clean is tough. I mean, depending on the circumstances, let's just say when we do a deep clean, and sometimes people are kind of taken aback by how many hours. We almost always end up taking more time than we build a client for.
Yeah, I was gonna say, often the time we talked about it. I've had a couple times and isn't that just best business practice? If it's a little thing, just make them happy. It may cost you a few extra bucks, but take note, everybody. We're taking notes.
He's got the pencil.
Scott helped me with this one to confirm earlier. My dad would say, excellence is achieved by doing a little more. He gave me a brick that said that. I had that on.
Yep.
It was a fake brick. But it said that message on there. That's how you
look for that little extra thing. And we tell our staff all the time, we got pretty strict processes, but you know what? If you can do just that little bit extra, do that because people remember it.
And that extra might be, well, this is something that got overlooked and they're asking about it rather than say, that costs extra. Just say, we'll take care of you.
Yeah, a lot of times the staff will do it. If it's something substantial, then that's why we have a client manager, and that's one of the nice things about our business is that we've got client management and team leads, and then the customer there or the client that we're working with, and between the three, gosh, man, it's really rare we can't work out a happy ending.
Yeah, well, that's where you see people that are giving you so many good reviews. And with that, I'm going to put it back up on the wall again. We've switched here, everybody. Alt-Tab. Scott knows the Alt-Tab.
I know. Yeah, I know.
Use Alt-Tab, everybody uses their mouse to scroll around. Just do Alt-Tab. You can switch windows. Here we are. Eads Co. Cleaning. 5 out of 5. An A+ on the BBB. Tell me why that's important and why you think you've earned that.
So why it's important, Better Business Bureau been around a while, and a lot of people go to look for it. They manage their reviews. Anytime you've got a credible source that the market frankly relies on, that's kind of like your grandpa telling you a story, telling you that's the way it is, boy. And you're like, yes, sir. So, I don't know. It's my theory on it, but it's just like all the other reviews. It's like you can get a good story from all your clients. That's just fantastic.
Take a look here real quickly on the wall again. This is the website, eadscocleaning.com. Ladies and gentlemen, it goes fast. We're going to start another segment here in just a second. You've been enjoying your little